Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you how I made this delicious lemon loaf cake. Let's get right into it. The first thing I'm going to do is add my salt, baking powder, and baking soda to my flour. And I'm going to give this a good stir just until the salt, baking powder, and baking soda are evenly dispersed throughout the flour. And then I'm going to set this bowl aside. And then here I have a larger bowl that I'm going to work my wet ingredients in. So I'm going to start off with my sugar and my oil, and I'm going to give these two a good whisk for about a minute or so, just until the sugar and the oil are fully combined and have become one with each other. And then I'm going to continue adding a few more of my wet ingredients. I'm going to add my freshly squeezed lemon juice, and right after that I'm going to add my lemon zest, and then I'm going to give this a good whisk, making sure we break up that lemon zest and there's not any clumps stuck together. And then after that I'm going to add my vanilla extract, and we're going to give that another quick little whisk. And after this, I'm going to crack my eggs one at a time directly into my batter. If you do not trust your eggs, you can crack them in a smaller bowl, and then once you make sure it's good, add it to your mixture. I've never had a bad egg though, so I just risk it and add them straight into my batter. Let me just knock on wood before I get a bad egg next time. So we want to give this a good whisk until our eggs are fully combined into our wet ingredients and we have this smooth, loose batter. And then the next thing we're going to do is just alternate adding our flour and our sour cream. So we're going to add our flour in 3 parts and our sour cream in 2 parts. And we're going to start with flour and end with flour. So the order that we're going to go in is adding first 1/3 of our flour, 1/2 of our sour cream, then another 1/3 of our flour mixture, and then the second 1/2 of our sour cream, and then the last 1/3 of our flour mixture. And then we want to make sure that we're not over mixing. Just mix until you see that there is no more streaks left of flour or sour cream. And halfway through here I switched from a whisk to a spatula because obviously the mixture was going to start getting thicker and I didn't want the mixture to get stuck in my whisk. And then also I like to do these folding motions, and this helps us scrape the sides of our bowl, make sure we're not leaving any flour behind, and then also helps us to not over mix our batter. Sorry, my voice is getting a little hoarse. Talking is just, these voiceovers just take me out. Excuse the lighting change here. The sun was in and out on this day and it was not working with me. But we're not going to be mad at Mother Nature. So once we incorporate all of our flour and our sour cream into our batter, we are done with this. And we have this silky, gorgeous looking batter. There's going to be some clumps in it, but if you want to avoid that, just sift your flour beforehand. I don't really mind them. The cake still comes out delicious. After that, we are going to butter up our loaf pan. Make sure it is really, really well buttered. If you don't have a brush, you can just do it with the butter stick or use your hands. No pasa nada. And then we're just going to add our batter to the loaf pan. Make sure you get everything out of your bowl because you don't want to leave any of this gorgeous batter left behind. And also at this point you want to make sure, I always forget to tell you guys, but the first step you want to make sure you do is preheat your oven. So at this point it should already be preheated. And then we're going to just give our pan a few hard taps on the counter just to get some of those excess bubbles out. And then we're just going to put this into our oven onto the middle rack. And then my loaf pan is already done baking. So while it's cooling there on the side, I'm going to make my glaze. I used half a cup of confectioner sugar or powdered sugar, and then I'm just adding tablespoons of lemon juice as I see fit. So I added the first one, and I could tell already that it was not going to be enough, so I added another one. And then you want to have some patience when you are mixing these together, because at first it's gonna look like it's not enough juice, but once you work it a little bit, you'll see the sugar dissolve into the juice. So have a little bit of patience and give it a good whisk. And so I stopped at 2 tablespoons because I was happy with this consistency. But if you want it looser, add more juice. If you want it more thicker, add more sugar. And so once we have this nice glaze that just melts into itself, we are going to go back to our loaf after it has cooled to the touch, and we're just going to take it out of the pan, and it should slide right out. Then I'm going to flip it over, and then I'm just going to pour my glaze over it. And yeah, spread it all over the top. If your loaf is too hot, it's just going to melt the glaze and it's going to slip and slide everywhere. So that's why it's important that you let your loaf cool first. And then yeah, just put an even layer of this glaze on top of your loaf. It doesn't have to look perfect. We're not professionals. We are just people who like to cook at home. And then just as a garnish, I sprinkled on top a little bit of lemon zest, just so it can look pretty, but that is completely optional. It doesn't add anything to the loaf. It just makes it look cute. And so that is all that I have for you today. Here I'm just gonna slice a couple slices for you guys. And yeah, I love this loaf. It's so good. It's moist, it's lemony. I hope you give it a try. Thank you so much for watching, and subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Follow me on Instagram for more content. And till next time, bye.